Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the 3 most common mistakes beginners make with watercolor and how to fix them so you can paint with more confidence and get better results. So let's get started. So this is a picture that I took in the Uinta Mountains, and when I look at it, I'm really paying attention to the lightest and darkest colors and thinking about how I'm going to lay those down with my paint. So remember, with watercolor, you always work from light to dark. So I use a really simple palette because I'm confident that I can make everything I need with ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, phthalo blue, burnt umber, white ghost, yellow ochre, raw sienna, cad yellow light, sap green, chromium oxide green, alizarin orange, and Grumbacher red. You have to have a yellow rubber eraser. It's specifically made for watercolor paper and will not damage your paper. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is using the wrong kind of paper. This is the right kind. I love this paper, it's Arches. But I've seen people use regular paper like printer paper or even standard sketchbook paper, and it just does not work for watercolor. It can't handle the water and it buckles and tears, or it causes your paint to look dull and blotchy. This is a quick pen and ink sketch of Yosemite. I did it as a rough draft, and then from there I went on and tried a small watercolor sketch. But this paper was only 80 pound, and it made painting it actually kind of difficult. The paint really didn't move very well on the paper. I think actually the paper is more important than the paint. And then this is the final 18 by 24 inch of the painting. So here I am starting this next one, and I'm starting with the lighter shades, remember. Okay, the second big mistake in watercolor is using too much water. When that happens, so your paint's gonna get overly diluted and you're gonna lose all the richness and intensity of the color. So personally, I love seeing deep, vibrant tones in my work, but with too much water, it just fades out. So you also get like less control and uneven drying time, which can also make your paint feel just a little bit out of control and maybe a little messy. None of those things you want. Also remember that as watercolor dries, it gets lighter. So what you think is going to be really vibrant and rich actually will fade quite a bit. So I don't know if you noticed, but I had my palette standing up there for just a sec, and I wanted the color to kind of fall down through closer to the horizon. Okay, you know when you're painting and you're like, okay, this is an ugly stage, you just gotta believe. You just gotta believe it's gonna get better. Here I'm adding some of the shadow and the depth of all those aspen trees. Okay, so the third biggest mistake is overworking your painting. So it's very tempting to keep going back into areas to try to fix things or to blend it just a little more. But watercolor rewards you with patience. When you overwork it, colors can turn muddy and the paper gets damaged. It can only hold so much water, and then you lose that fresh, loose feeling. Okay, speaking of overworking paintings, I'm actually going to show you. So this area where you're seeing, okay, this area right here. Now I'm going to show you how to remove the paint. This is something I probably should have saved for another lesson, but it works here because there's enough paint on the paper, and I'm working with really good quality paper, so I can go back in and remove this paint. Whenever I do this, my name is Shannon. and the movie Far and Away with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and how he's like plunge and scrub Shannon. So that's what I'm doing here. So learning how to lift or remove paint is an essential watercolor skill, actually. So mistakes are part of the process. Every artist makes them. I'm very brave to be here on YouTube and show you a mistake that I made. But at some point, we all step back and we reevaluate and realize that something needs to change. But knowing how to make those adjustments thoughtfully is really part of being a painter. Okay, so I'm just kind of working on the forefront of the painting. Remember, this painting is the size of a business card. It's super tiny. And I was just waiting for the background to dry. If I had gone back in and put paint in immediately, it would have bled, it would have looked muddy. So part of it is knowing when to pause and to wait and know when to re-add the paint. So as I'm wrapping this little painting up, I am just curious if there is something that you have struggled with watercolor, and maybe have some questions. So just leave them in the comments and I will make sure I get back to you and address that in a future video. That'd be fun. Thank you for watching today's video. Remember to like and subscribe. Hit that bell. See you next week.